Shinobi on X, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond reviews. Started out great. When I first saw this, I was like, okay, we got a 9. Nintendo Life gave it a 9. Okay. I've never heard of Console Creatures or Shack News. IGN gives it an 8. Okay. Again, these are critic reviews. Take them with a grain of salt. This is just for entertainment purposes only. CGM gives it an 8. Gfinity, don't know if I'm familiar with that. GameSpot gives it an 8. The Gamer gives it an 8. Tech Rate. So it sounds to me across the board overall, it's about like it feels like heavy 7 to an 8, 7.5, we'll say, because we got Game Pro with a 7, Games Radar with a 7, and then Video Games Chronicle, which is one outlet that I actually do put a little bit of respect into and trust. They haven't led me astray too much in the past. They give it a 6, and I'm like, oh man, VGC these days is what Eurogamer used to be. Eurogamer is trash now. But either way, they both gave it a 6. And Game Reactor, a 6. So overall, not great. Not great. And followed up with 8-Bit Eric, who said, imagine waiting nearly 2 decades for Metroid Prime 4 just for Nintendo to hand us another perfectly average, perfectly safe, perfectly forgettable release. Nintendo fans deserve better, but somehow they keep clapping for mediocrity. Yeah, I hear him and I agree. I think the problem is to me at least, Metroid is such an iconic series. I grew up with this. Metroid on the NES was a game that I would replay over and over and over again when I was younger. We only had a few games, and that was a game I fell in love with. And then on my Game Boy for Metroid 2, and my parents wouldn't let me play video games on school nights, so I would sneak my Game Boy in my room, and I was supposed to be doing homework. I'd be playing Metroid 2 all the time. And then Super Metroid, like, holy crap. It was my childhood, okay? So sophomore year of college, Metroid Prime comes out on the GameCube. And I don't know what to expect out of it. I was a little bit hesitant. A first-person shooter. I was like, that's not Metroid to me. It never will be. I played it, and I was like, holy shit. This game is insane. It's up there in the pantheons of greatest games in history. Metroid Prime. It is that good. Go back and play it if you haven't, and come tell me I'm wrong. It really is. I could argue top 10 game of all time. And that would be hard to argue. And if not top 10, definitely top 25 of all time. That's how good Metroid Prime is. So to me going into this, I'm just like, I can't wait. And now we got, 8 years of waiting, and we're on the cusp of it releasing. And we get this, where Pirate Nation says, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is the lowest reviewed game in the series. Metacritic, 52 reviews, and 80. And again, for any other game, an 80 would be, hey, cool. I'll probably play that game at some point. I expect a very good game experience out of an 80 game. Yeah. But if I'm playing a game that I've been waiting 8 years for in a series that's so beloved like Metroid, I am expecting near perfection. And Retro Studios has to know that going into it. But instead, what do we get? Reddit trash writing. This is Learning the Law, quote tweeting Andy Robinson, who is from Video Games Chronicle. And he says, OMG, it's Samus Aran. So I'm sure this is making the rounds. It's already going viral. You've probably already seen this a million times, but if you haven't already, prepare yourself.
Sarge!
Armstrong, you all right?
I'm good. You?
Yes.
While I was waiting, I was studying this hologram. Well, Samus, it's really you. I don't even know what to say. Is this a new suit? It's amazing. I love it. I love it so
Private.
much. Yes, sir.
Ermagerd, Samus, Ermagerd. Why? Like, this is when they need someone fucking grounded in reality to helm the studio and direct this game. And if I saw this, first thing I'd say, get this shit out of that game. What the hell is this? This is not Metroid. Who did this? Get this out. What is this? They should have learned from Other M. That was one of the cringiest parts of Metroid, was Other M, with the dialogue, with the conversations, with the interactions with people. And I understand Metroid Prime 3 has more conversations, more interactions, but you don't get this kind of stuff out of that. This is like some Gen Z millennial crap Reddit tier writing that's just like, come on, man. Come on. Andy Robinson, Metroid Prime 4 is secretly structured like a Zelda game. Soul Valley, the desert shown in trailers, is basically Hyrule Field, and Viola Eponia, at the name of the motorcycle. Viola. Are they trying to say the motorcycle is like Eponia? With each main area positioned like a self-contained dungeon on each corner. There are even 5 keys to gather and a shielded tower. Okay. So they turned Metroid into Zelda. Fuck my life. If I wanted to play a Zelda game, I would buy a fucking Zelda game. Why can't they lean into what makes Metroid Metroid? Why do they have to fall into the tropes of what another game does? And I really do think it comes down to Nintendo wants to try to get more sales out of this. They're trying to kickstart the series because historically, and this is shocking to me, the Metroid series in general has not sold very much. Grand scheme. It's not very many, especially if you compare it to other series. For a recent summary, the Metroid series has sold over 22 million copies worldwide. That's terrible. That is so bad. And Metroid's like a household name. Metroidvania's its own game category. Everyone knows what Metroid is. And yet it barely sells, grand scheme. So when you see stuff like this, it makes you wonder, is Nintendo taking the approach of, hey, since it doesn't typically sell, maybe we need to change the formula up. Maybe we need to change it and, I don't know, rip off completely one for one what Zelda does, because people buy Zelda. So just slap the Zelda formula into it and call it Metroid Prime 4, and maybe they'll just won't notice. It feels like lazy game design, and I haven't even played it yet. Spawnwave, wow, that's a good bit lower than expected. This is what it was at 79 overall. Yikes. And I wanted to focus on this. This is, you may not know, this is Kiwi Talks. He is a game developer interviewer who is well known for Retro Studios interviews. He didn't work there, but he is intimately familiar with the developer. He said, I wanted to fully digest everything before I commented on this. Obviously, I am in a bit of a unique position compared to most because of my connection to Retro Studios, past and present. Seeing this score close to Other M is soul crushing, given the rest of the franchise is a 90 plus on Metacritic. After analyzing everything, I think the reason Nintendo and Retro went down this road is because of only one thing: sales. Metroid's biggest problem has always been sales. Outside of Dread, which, holy shit, Dread was a fantastic game. Very rarely do I beat a game and then switch it to hard mode and play it again immediately and beat it again. I did that with Metroid Dread. I was hooked on it. Such a great game. Prime 1 doesn't count. It was heavily bundled. That distorts the sales. The game has sold at the same amount for 20 years plus, which is no longer feasible in this day and age with budgets as bloated as they are. And the bike NPC troopers were a way of broadening the audience Reviewers have commented on the hand-holdiness, and if you ever watch people play a Metroid game for the first time, you can see why they did this. Even Maximilian Dude, a seasoned gamer, watching him play through Prime 1 was painful to watch as he played it wrong. Oof. If Metroid sold 5+ million in every entry, then I doubt we would have seen them resort to this and would have made it more like Breath of the Wild, where there is more of an invisible hand guiding you. As I've mentioned before, if any other company had the Metroid IP, this franchise would have been dead a long time ago. Yeah, Team Ninja, hear about that? This is a $100 million+ budgeted game. This is clearly evident from the credits list, which includes Retro and heaps of other studios similar to Remastered. Not only that, are you including the development costs from the initial creation and then trashing and deletion and restarting when they handed it over to Retro? This, I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking like 300+ million. Like we're getting to like Ubisoft territory of game cost. I get the game tomorrow, so I will give you my thoughts on the game itself. Once I've played through a great deal of it, I will see if I can get a number of the original Metroid Prime devs to do a roundtable review of Metroid Prime 4 in the new year if I can. So it's an 8 out of 10 game. How on earth can that be crushing? World is mad. I'm talking about it being with striking distance of the same score of Other M, a game I literally hate to death, which I am with this guy. I cannot stand Other M. And I will not be gaslit into thinking, oh, I'm wrong. It's a good game if I just give it a chance. Oh, fuck Other M. It's terrible. I am not talking about the score itself. Read between the lines. 100%. Metroid Dread is at 88, lower than Metroid Prime and Remastered. But it didn't need to change much to sell as well as it did. When developers deviate in order to appeal to a broader audience, they risk alienating the original fans. I think most people warmed up to the Viola. Metroid is 2D. Metroid in 2D also had a tiny budget. Salaries tiny in Spain. Metroid 3D is a different story. Yep, 100%. I almost feel like, you know what this is going to do with Metroid Prime? This is the end of the series. There is no Metroid Prime 5. This is it. Metroid will, for the foreseeable future, and I'm talking until AI takes over gaming and creates everything, which I don't know, that might be next year at this point. Metroid will go back to being a 2D genre. I wholeheartedly believe that after this. Insider Gaming, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is the lowest reviewed game in the series. And here we have Metacritic, an 81 based on 71 critic reviews. It's concerning. I will say, though, if there's any silver lining, this property is worth millions. And Nintendo is obviously terrible with using properties that they have sitting on their laps. But I'd like to think we'll get a Metroid Dread 2, and we'll get additional Metroid 2D platformers in the future that will just be amazing. Because really, they are so good. There's something about Metroid that's just transcends gaming. Not to be cheesy, but it takes you away more than a lot of games do. And my concern is this game, just from the trailers that I've seen and the reviews that I've read so far, is it feels like they played it too safe. They went with a cookie cutter formula, trying to make it more accessible for the average everyday gamer to be introduced to the series and start with it. And I mean, from a certain perspective, I get it. But from another perspective, I'm like, no, bro. If there's ever a time to not do that, it's when you're coming out with a game that has the number 4 after it. That means there's 3 fucking other ones that people can get good with to get to this one. The problem is that they want to make all their money and they want to put everything all into one with this. That's my concern with it. And We'll leave it with this because I think this is perfectly encapsulating my thoughts on it as well. Will the fans? I think they're about to fuck up Metroid with that Marvel humor. 100%. Playing it too safe and just going back to the tropes of let's break the ice. Let's have some comedy relief or people that just are really awkward to make you feel more safe because it's just awkward in a cozy environment. Fuck that. This is Metroid. You're supposed to feel alone and desolate and scared and wondering if you're going to be able to survive. I don't want fucking yellow paint and comic relief in my Metroid game. Get this shit out of here. What are we doing? Fuck. But yes, I'm still going to play it and I have it pre-ordered. So fuck my life. But I will be streaming it. So keep an eye out for that. For now, I'll leave that there.